Oh, we're talking mock draft again. This one comes from NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah. Let's take a look and see who he has the New York Jets selecting.
Jets, Jets!
All right, welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, we are doing another mock, the mock. This one coming from Daniel Jeremiah. He releases his mock draft 1.0 of the offseason. You might be saying, Ryan, why do we care about Daniel Jeremiah? Well, he and Joe Douglas were both scouts with Baltimore at the same time, so there's a little bit of a friendship there. So you want to keep a little bit of an eye on the players that he has us selecting over the course of this offseason. And you never know if it's going to be a little bit of, hey, let's help my buddy out and try to not give away his draft picks, or is he giving us some inside insight on Joe Douglas and the route he might prefer to go? It's exciting. Nonetheless, let's jump into this mock draft. So overall, number one, he has the Jags taking Evan Neal, the tackle from Alabama. I think this pick makes a lot of sense. I think with them taking Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne in last year's first round, it only makes sense to help both those guys out and add an offensive lineman. Lions take AIDAN Hutchinson. Makes a lot of sense. Keep the Michigan guy in Michigan. I think that checks out. Texans, this one I didn't see coming. He has the Texans taking Kyle Hamilton, which I guess could make sense. You get an elite captain on the opposite side of the field. On the defensive side, they are possibly losing Reed to free agency. Maybe they go that route. This is definitely the first mock draft that I've seen pop Hamilton into the top three. And then at number 4, he has the edge rusher, Kayvon Thibodeaux from Oregon, falling to the New York Jets. He is 6'5", 258 pounds. I would absolutely love if this happened. And this is something that I've kind of been talking about recently. I do think he is going to be there for the New York Jets at number 4, and I think that might be why you're hearing a little more rumblings of them wanting to trade out of 10 as opposed to number 4. Now, let's talk about Kayvon Thibodeaux. He is number 2 on Pro Football Focus's big board. He has an 83.9 overall grade with a 91.5 pass rush grade. He's the former number 1 overall ESPN recruit of their top 100 recruits entering into college. He's got an explosive first step. He can definitely keep the offensive lineman guessing whenever he is he's so fast, right? Like his first step actually forces offensive linemen to react too early, and he gets false start penalties or his opponent gets false start penalties. So that's like added bonus yardage that doesn't count into the stats. Love that. Great bend, might be the best bend in this class, at least of like the top edge rushers here. He knows how to set up offensive linemen throughout the course of a game. And what I mean is if he's constantly going around the outside of him, he'll eventually hit that with a spin move inside or swat his hands and take a dip inside with a swim move. I love this about him. I think it's a very high IQ type move. He's also strong against the run game as well as in his pass rush as well. So he's a well-rounded recruit all the way around. He's played in 30 games. He has 126 tackles, 35.5 tackles for a loss, 19 total sacks, 7 passes deflected, and 3 forced fumbles in his Oregon career. To put this in perspective, Aidan Hutchinson had 3.5 sacks in the 3 years leading up to this current season. So really interesting that he only had a lot of sacks after having David Ojabo on the opposite side. But I digress. The con for Kayvon Thibodeaux is probably one that we've only heard of recently, and that was his interview with, I think it was Joel Klatt on Fox, and it just was not very good. He kind of threw the Alabama education under the bus and said, oh, there's no point in going to Alabama. I'm going to go to Oregon because at least I'm setting myself up for the future, where Alabama, he didn't say dumb as rocks, but he definitely implied like not a good education when talking about Alabama. And he got a lot of people really upset. I would imagine there's probably some players on our team that may not think overly highly, but I think once you see this guy get on the field and really start attacking offenses, this would be absolutely elite. And pairing him with a healthy Carl Lawson coming off an Achilles injury, this is absolutely incredible. And I think this is where you can start to see this defense really take a turn for the best. After this, Daniel Jeremiah has Ekwonu, the guard tackle from NC State, going to the Giants at number 5. That is the player I think I'm starting to fall in love with the Jets at number 4 in the event that one of the edges is not there. So something to keep an eye on for sure. Panthers, Ahmad Gardner. Sauce Gardner, the cornerback, going to the Panthers. That's a little weird for me because they just took J.C. Horn last year, so I don't know. I guess they're loading up on corners. Giants take Devin Lloyd at number 7, followed by Falcons taking Treylon Burks, perhaps a tip of the hand as far as Calvin Ridley trade coming. They need to replace a top wide receiver. Broncos take the first quarterback off the board at number 9 in Kenny Pickett. That brings the Jets in at number 10. He has the Jets selecting cornerback Trent McDuffie out of Washington. So, cornerback-wise, I'll admit, I'm not very high on taking a cornerback high in this draft, particularly because everyone has us mocked taking Stingley, and I don't like that. But he has 2 cornerbacks going before Stingley, which I think is actually what's going to wind up happening. Trent McDuffie, 5'11", 195 pounds, again from Washington. He's number 15 on Pro Football Focus's big board. He has an 86.3 overall grade. He wound up allowing 16 receptions for 111 yards and no touchdowns this year. That was good enough to give opposing passers a 52 passer rating. So this guy was elite in coverage this year. He excels in the zone. He's not great at press man coverage. That's kind of... I shouldn't say he's not great, but he's not good at rerouting receivers just because he's so small. But he loves tackling. He's not afraid to get aggressive. There's plenty of highlights of this guy running around the opposite side of the formation and tackling a running back from behind the line of scrimmage. And it's really impressive the amount of hustle this guy has. Draft Network thinks he's a starting outside cornerback, but says he could also move as a nickel back as well. This guy would be a starting cornerback for us, hands down. You can't take a guy in the top 10 and not have a starting outside cornerback here. Now, this is not the direction I would expect the Jets to go, just because I kind of envision Saleh wanting to replicate like the Legion of Boom. If he's talking about getting cornerbacks and things of that nature, he loved having Richard Sherman as a cornerback for his time in both Seattle and San Francisco. But Richard Sherman is 6'3", so the height disparity is a big difference. So I don't know if a shorter corner is kind of where I see them going. It's interesting. I'll give it that. It's definitely not the route I'd probably go here at this pick. But overall, not bad. I think this immensely helps the defensive side of the ball. You get a pass rusher and you get a guy that can cover receivers way longer. So this is not a bad move overall. Some interesting players that wound up going at different points in this mock draft. Like I said, Kenny Pickett, first quarterback off the board at 9. Maybe that means there's going to be some interesting trade talks earlier above that Broncos pick, as well as the Jets pick at number 10, because he has Matt Corral going at number 11 to Washington. So the Jets possibly wanting to trade out of number 10. Seems like that might fit the narrative that we hope to possibly have going on. He has George Karlaftis, a lot of people's 3rd overall edge, going number 15 to the Eagles. That's probably the farthest I've seen him go down, but again, not overly surprising, I think, at this point in the process. He has Nakobe Dean going 24. If Nakobe Dean makes it that far down, I'm trying like hell to move back up into the first round to get Nakobe Dean, because I really like him. If you come away with Kayvon Thibodeau, Trent McDuffie, and Nakobe Dean, you help each layer of your defense. Oh man, would this be an epic first round for the New York Jets. One pick later, he has Tyler Linderbaum, so I know a lot of you guys are going to be interested possibly moving up to get that generational prospect at center. Wouldn't hate that either. Either one of those guys falling to the back half of the first round would be absolutely awesome. And then rounding out his quarterbacks for the first round, he has Malik Willis going 29 to the Lions. So the Lions wind up getting Hutchinson and their quarterback. Interesting stuff. I think I could definitely see the Lions taking a quarterback the back end of this draft, or when they have 2 first-round picks next year. So it's kind of interesting to see if they wind up rolling it back with Goff. But guys, that was Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft and some of my thoughts about it. Let me know your thoughts in the description or in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the Jets picks. What you thought about some of the other picks. Do you think it's interesting that Karlaftis drops, Linderbaum drops, Neal drops, or Nakobe Dean drops, not Neal. Neal goes 1 overall. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I want to hear everything you guys have to say. And as always, go Jets.
Jets!